educated, and then all of a sudden,
but I'm pretty sure it's one of the same people in here.
just a few more days. I was so excited too. I was just like, bro, I'm poor.
Welcome everyone to Book Theories and Delusions. Today we're going to be talking about the last about 20-ish chapters of A Curse for True Love, which had me just, oh my gosh. Before we get started, spoilers of course, you know what this is about. We talk about books and then we talk about theories and everything. So of course there are going to be spoilers. I'm Shayna, this is Winona, and let's get into it because
so much happened in I was gonna say just the short chapters, but this was almost 20 chapters. However, still so much was packed in there, and yet I feel like not enough was packed in there too.
it definitely, we find out some crazy things. Like, it definitely kind of did, I don't want to say felt rushed, because I feel like if it was like, it had a very nice, I think, mixture of like feeling like rushed, but also like also kind of being dragged out. Like, I don't know, I feel both of those things kind of simultaneously. That makes sense.
Definitely, yeah.
I don't know, I really enjoyed it. So we start off and like Evangeline um has gotten her memories back, and then Apollo figures out she's got her memories back.
Which was
She's trying,
crazy. The way that he finds out and the way that he
yeah,
just like latched on so fast.
yeah. He's like, I have to stop this. And he's like, I'm gonna save her from basically from Jax and from herself or anything. And it's just like, this is a little controlling, my guy. Like,
So control. Well, I mean,
this is
all the things that he was been doing leading up to this, right? Killing a child and killing his guards
right.
and creating all these things that are going on for his own self. Like, it's just he's so controlling and so psychotic. Just, but we luckily see Lala. I was complaining last episode that I didn't know where Lala was, but
We
she,
love Lala.
yeah, she came and helped Evangeline luckily escape, and that's why I was saying it was so crazy because like they made it set up as if she was kidnapped, right? But when Apollo went in
Right.
there, it at first he thought maybe it was a kidnapped, and he was scared because obviously people have been trying to kill her. But then he just immediately knew, once the guards said that they didn't hear anything, that it was all just a setup. And I don't know, it's like he knew
He
where
like
to
knew she
go.
left willingly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
I knew Aurora was up to something, and like we knew like something sketchy was, and she had been coordinating with Apollo, right? She helped him like wipe Evangeline's memories. She was giving him stuff to like just kind of like help him because she has been in love with Jax this whole time, and that love had been unreciprocated. And so she was trying to take care of Evangeline and every girl that Jax has been involved with so that she can try and get to him. So that means like she's been helping Apollo. And that was crazy. Like, oh, that was so crazy. Like
I know.
she's also a little crazy. Like,
Yeah. Like, we really thought that her and Lyric were this beautiful love story, right? Because even when she met
right.
Evangeline, she was telling her the story and said, oh, it's this beautiful tragedy or whatever. And turns out she was just playing him too. She just wanted everybody's attention.
Yeah, she just really liked the attention, and she likes, like feeling wanted, um, but is willing to go to severe measures in order to, get that, right? And that involves being obsessed with a man that is not reciprocating any attention that he gives her,
And the
right?
way that she almost got Jax, I don't even want to say almost, but the deal that Jax made to create that bracelet that protects her was his own heart. He gave away to Aurora, who's evil, just to save Evangeline and keep her safe.
Well, like, did he give it to her? Because he had it at the end, right? Like, Evangeline's like trying to find Aurora, and then she finds her and she's like beaten. Like, which makes me
Right.
feel like Jax got into like a fist fight with her, which would have been hilarious to see, honestly. And then she finds him at like the Phoenix tree, right, where he's gonna like burn it or something. And then
Yeah,
That's when
so
everything happened.
yeah, so what I remember is they were looking for Jax, and he kept leaving these notes saying, "Don't look for me," and burning the cart. And he killed this little fox and said, "It's only
Yeah.
going to get worse. Don't look for me." But when, like you said, Aurora came out of the tree and they were saying, "Where's the heart? We've looked everywhere." She said, "Jax gave me this bruise. Like, he knocked me out and he stole it. He demanded it back and he's going to destroy it." Not, she didn't know that there was a phoenix tree. She just was trying to scare Evangeline and make her go away, and maybe hoped that, I don't know, Jax would somehow come back to her or whatever. But yeah, so Jax did like punch her lights out
Oh.
and was trying to just like destroy his heart.
That whole scene, like around the tree was so just I just can't. So she so she gets to the Phoenix tree, and I don't even know where to begin. Right? She sees Jax there and she just like talks to him. He said, "This is as close as we get," and he's like stroking her throat, right? Because he was like, "Do you know what like the bracelet did to me last time I tried to?" Because he tried to hurt her, right? That's what the
Yeah.
bracelet does. He gave her this bracelet, and if someone tries to hurt her, like it harms them pretty severely, I think, because Apollo was like doubled over. And she has like this whole like monologue, which is like she tells him that she loves him. She's like, "I love you, Jax." And then he's just like, close his eyes. And then she was just like, this whole monologue, like, I wondered if like fate was real. But I've made my decision, and like my decision is you. You are my love, you are mine, and you're not going to be the end of me. Um, and then he was like, I think I already am. Like, let me go. Um, and he was just like, and I loved when he was like, I am broken. I like to break things. Sometimes I want to break you. And she's like, well, then break me. Which I was like, whoa. He admits, I think, here, where he admits that, like, originally, Chaos, when he opened the arch, Chaos killed her, and he used his one moment to turn back just a few moments later to save her life. And the thing that was taken from him was her memories. And then, so he admits that to her, and then he's like, I'm so sorry, it's my fault. And she was like, it is not your fault. Apollo is psychotic, right? Took her memories, and then he was just like, and then it's this whole thing. Sorry, this is so chaotic. And she's like, "Would you rather live without me?" He's like, "I'd rather you live." And it's just like these whole things, which I think really just a testament of like how much Jax is like in love with her. Right? He's willing to sacrifice his love, his just everything that he has with just in order for her just to be alive, in order just to exist around her, which I think is just so beautiful. Anyway, I'm gonna let you speak because I'm a little chaotic right now.
You're good. I think it was so beautifully written too, because when he's confessing all these things to her and she finally finds out the reason why, he's been so overly protective this last little bit, it was such an emotional confession and such an emotional conversation, because he wasn't initially just being like, you need to let me go because this and this and this, and I did this and this and this. He just broke down and said, I can't lose you again. You cannot die again. And she's like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, I'm okay. I'm alive. Like,
Yeah,
stop it. And that's when he says, he
yeah,
breaks down and he says that what happened. So I love the way that they did it. It wasn't like this weird, like, it wasn't this conversation type of a thing. It was kind of just him begging for her to just stay alive, basically, right? And apologizing for all the things
yeah,
that she has gone through. And like you said, it's not his fault, it's Apollo's. He's done everything to protect her, uh whereas Apollo's done everything to like put her in harm's way. So
right,
it's just, I think it was a really nice conversation and really nice to see Jax just break down in a way. Maybe that's not so great to say, but it was nice to see him just be open finally.
right. A really beautiful moment of like vulnerability, right? Where he's able to finally, after 3 books, just like admit his feelings and like admit that like everything he did was for her.
Mm-hmm.
Like any of his actions, any of his thoughts, any of his motivations were surrounded around her. Right. And I think I keep going back to like that confession where he was like, in his own mind, he was like, I don't even remember what Donatella looks like.
Yes.
He's like, it is now, just always, and always will be Evangeline.
Like, speaking of that, just juxtaposition, whatever that word is,
Exposition.
yeah, juxtaposition between Jax doing everything for her and everything that he's done has been because of her versus Aurora and everything that she's done for Jax, but for herself or because of Jax, the curse that she put on him, the
Mhm.
the way that she hired whatever group of men to ask him to kill that original fox, all these things was because of how she felt towards him, but obviously continually put him in harm's way, which was also such a surprise. All this time we thought his curse was he would kill every girl that he kissed except for his one true love. But really, it was he was going to kill anybody who could ever love him, except for the one girl or however many girls that there are who could never love him. And that's why Donatella didn't,
Yeah.
die, because she never was going to love him. And I just,
Right.
that was such a mind blowing thing and
Yeah.
realization.
It's like Aurora's love was very selfish because it was not in consideration of any of Jack's feelings or wants or desires. She was like, I want you and I'm going to have you.
Mm-hmm.
Versus Jax is like, I am bending the heavens in order just to keep you alive,
Yeah.
right? Just so beautiful. And then she kisses him finally in the last like 5 chapters. They finally have like their first like actual kiss, which is very much like a slow burn. And it's like it's great, but it's also just like finally. Um
Yeah, it's taken
then
all
he's just
three
like,
books just to get there, right?
I know. Which makes sense, but um and I think that, you know, including that like bracelet of protection was such a smart move because like I think that's what kind of protects Evangeline from like Aurora's curses and like makes her able to stay with Jax. And also I do think that like the kiss of true love, it's kind of a little corny and kind of like just seems like to slap on whatever problems people have. But I think with the combination of the bracelet and the kiss of true love, I think that's kind of like a perfect solution in order for Jax and for Evangeline to kind of like, in order for them to like live their happily ever after.
No, I love your theory, and I think you're actually absolutely correct on that whole. The bracelet was the reason that she actually didn't get harmed. But
Uh-huh.
reading it, I kind of hated that it ended up being this like, it's because he loves her. Because I just felt like
Yeah.
he loved the first fox too. He tried so hard to stay away from her to make sure she wasn't going to be harmed and all this stuff. And even with this curse on him, where he almost cannot control himself, he still controlled himself and instead chose to kiss her versus
Mhm.
killing her, right? And even still,
Right.
she died. So I do think he loved her, and yet she died too. You know what I mean? But with your theory about the bracelet, I think that gives a lot of reason as to why Evangeline
You know
lived.
what? I had another idea.
Hmm.
What if the curse already took effect and that's why when she kissed him later, like she was fine, right? Because she died in the arch and almost because of Jax, right? So what if Chaos killing her, but then Jax bringing her back to life just kind of like disabled the curse because it already kind of took place.
Maybe. Yeah.
I feel like it could be either or maybe like a combination, right? Because there's no like it's not there's nothing saying that like because death already kind of feels permanent, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's no like clause that says like, oh well, if you somehow stay alive then like it's gonna keep happening, right? But if it already like kind of happened, like Evangeline died, Jax was holding her, all because Jax wanted to open the arch and get that moment to like go back in time. And so when he brought her back to life, like the curse technically doesn't apply to her anymore because it already happened.
I think that's totally possible because, like they say throughout the books, is that there's always a backdoor. There's always loopholes to every curse, every
Right.
thing, right? So it could even be both. It could be, the fact that
Yeah.
she technically is dead or died, and then it could be the bracelet as well. Just like everything piling on top to make it so that she doesn't die from his kisses. But I also was really hoping because Lala was with her when they were looking for Jax, right? She was with her at the cart burning. She was with her when they saw the dead fox and when Aurora came out and all this stuff. And they wanted so badly, well, Lala wanted so badly specifically to torture her and make her pay for everything that she's done. And so I was really hoping when Evangeline had gone through the arch and saved Jax and all these things that went on, that Lala would stay behind and force Aurora to undo all those curses and the spells that she'd done to Jax. And that's why
Yeah.
that the kiss worked, or that she didn't die, because Aurora had undone the spell. But yeah, so I think that's why I was a little mad, because I was like, that's perfect. And then it ended up being like, we're in
Yeah.
love. And I was like, dang nabbit.
Yeah. I'm a little frustrated. Like we know Apollo got his due diligence, like
That
whatever. Right?
beautifully.
He yeah. So Jackson and Evangeline are like kissing by the tree, and Apollo comes in and interrupts them and like takes Evangeline like to the Tree of Souls, right? He like sets the Phoenix tree on fire. Jax is caught up in the smoke or anything, and he takes Evangeline to the Tree of Souls, and he drinks the blood of the Tree of Souls. And that whole curse is, if you drink from the Tree of Souls, the person that you love the most is gonna like be taken by the tree, like you value most. And so Apollo is 100% certain it's gonna be Evangeline, right? Because he's like obsessed with her, right? But then Apollo ends up getting sucked into the tree because the person he loves and values most is himself. And I'm pretty sure that the reason why he's so obsessed with Evangeline is just like a remnant of the Archer's curse that was put
Mm-hmm.
on him.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's like what's it. So he's trapped in that tree forever. Which I thought was like, yeah, you deserve that, Apollo. But I'm really upset that Aurora never got, her due diligence for everything that she did to Jackson Evangeline, right? And at the end, it kind of hints that there might be like a spin-off series, maybe around the Valors, and maybe she'll get some due diligence there. But they even said that like her brothers won't punish her, her parents won't do anything, because they're really concerned about people seeing their children as monsters. Like they're really concerned about their image. And I'm like, then you're just raising terrible, obnoxious children. Like your children need punishments. Like it's crazy, right? Because it's like Castor is like a physical like animal, right? He's a vampire. He like kills people, but like Aurora is like an emotional like I mean she kind of has like done things, but I feel like she just kind of it's like that opposition, right?
Yeah, I think she's definitely a witch. I mean, with her spell books and everything, she's. And then the emotional part of it, where she's crazy and feels so strongly, but in a bad way. Yeah, she's so scary. But I will say, I do
Yeah.
think that the writing of Apollo's End and the whole Tree of Souls and how he was sucked into it and everything, I think that was so well done. And that's the one part of the ending that I actually loved, right? I think that he got it.
Right.
It was justice. It was beautiful. I was terrified reading it. Like, this thing sounded so scary. And he had tied her up and was going to use her as sacrifice. Jax was trying to save her. He was punching his lights out, had him all bloody and mangled face. And Wulfric saved him, right? And the
Right.
other brothers were trying to hold Jax back, and he was trying so hard to fight for her and take her to safety.
Right.
And then luckily, Apollo was the one who was sucked in, right? But still, just that scene I think was so well done and such a beautiful ending to Apollo that I have no quarrels with that. But like you said, I mean, Aurora needs to get some sort of karma for her actions. We never saw Tiberius
Yeah.
again. I have no idea where Marisol is. Like, there's so
Yeah.
many loose ends that I feel like there has to be another book series spin-off, whether it's about the Valors, whether it's about Tiberius trying to win his kingdom back, whether it's, I don't know, Marisol trying to have a happy ending. I don't know. Right? Or like Luke too. Like, where's Luke? There's just so many people that I feel
Yeah.
like just got forgotten about. And
Hmm.
I don't know, just because they made such a direct quote from the mom about how, you think it's the end, but really, like, the stepsister's still somewhere out there, or there's
Yeah.
somebody else who wants to stop their happily ever after. But like you said, at the end of the book, when I don't know what it's called, the story curse or something, was watching Jax and Evangeline get out of the little Tree of Soul cavern, it was saying that, they seem to be getting a happily ever after, or they're happy for now, and that's great. And I think that their story isn't completely done, but that it was at its ending-ish point. There wasn't much to write about more. Whereas it said that the Valor's story was not done. So that's why I really
Right.
do think that there's going to be another spin-off series. But we'll see.
I think so too. Yeah. I'm so excited. She's coming. I've already mentioned her novella, so I think she's definitely not done with
Yeah.
this whole like world. But I'm really interested in I wonder if Wolfric kind of knew um and that's kind of why they were holding Jax back.
I think so.
I wonder if he knew like who was going to get sucked into the tree. And I bet they knew like cuz I think they could kind of tell like Apollo's intentions, like his personality, and that's why they're kind of like, you don't want to do this, like, without kind of being like, oh, well, like you're kind of arrogant, so like if you might get sucked into the tree because you only value yourself, right? So I'm just kind of curious. I think maybe that Wolfric knew.
Yeah, I think he
I don't know, just because he's
said
been around a long time.
something about how if you're willing to sacrifice somebody that you love to have eternal life or whatever it is, then he said then you don't really love that person. The person you love is yourself. And I don't remember if that's like what exactly he said, but it was something along those lines. So I do think he knew. And
Yeah.
there was other faces in that tree, so I kind of wonder if this has happened before and he's seen it happen and knew that the result
Oh,
was the person who's doing it gets sucked in.
yeah.
So but yeah. I still don't trust the Valors though, none of them. The more that we got to
No,
know them, all of them seemed to have their own selfish agendas and just were not good people. So
they are shady.
very shady.
So shady. Yeah. I do definitely think this is not the end. Like, and I'm really excited because I just love everything about this universe. Like Caraval, the Caraval series, and like Once Upon a Broken Heart, just truly phenomenal. I've really enjoyed this book series.
It was really good. I did give this book 4 stars just because there's so many loose ends in my opinion. If there is another book series, a spin-off series, then I think I might change it to 5 stars if they, continue on, because I'd like to see, what's going on with Tiberius. Same with Mighty Soul. I'd like to see Aurora get her wow. I'd like to see Aurora get her due diligence. I want to
Right.
know whether Lala and Dane, I think his name is going to end up together. What's the story there? Same with Castor.
Yeah.
What's going to happen to him? Is he going to overcome his instincts, or is he going to fall? Just all of these things. I think there's a lot to write about. So hopefully she does have it. But for now, I'm having it at 4 stars because there's just so much written about every single detail, every single room, every single dress or outfit that I think was a little much. I liked it in the first book because it was a whole new world. It made sense. But this one, I don't think it was necessary for every single thing. Um,
Yeah.
so that was why I gave it, I guess, 4 stars.
Yeah. I gave it 5. I've had a good time all the time, so I was like, I love this. This book traumatized me and it really caused me some emotional turmoil. So of course, 5 stars.
Yes.
Actually, so I was looking at reviews for A Curse for True Love,
Hmm.
and I swear I saw something that said like, and I don't remember what was said, but it gave me the kind of hint that like, oh, that Jax and Evangeline may not end up together in the end, and I was like, it's like no, and so I was scared this entire time and like had to convince myself like no, like that wouldn't be possible like because of this and this and this and I was like no, she wouldn't do that. Right? Cuz it was just like oh, like I read this for Jackson and Evangeline to end up together like whatever and it just kind of gave me the impression that like maybe they weren't and they did and I was like thank the heavens because I was going to light this book on fire if there was like if they just didn't end up together and Jax was just like no.
Throws his heart in the fire.
Yeah. you know, I was gonna just end the book and
Yeah, no, I do think she's really also good at writing where you don't know what's going to happen, right? With this book series, she had
yeah.
almost three love interests. She did have three love interests
Hmm.
where, you didn't know which one she was going to end up with, right? And same with Caravel,
Hmm.
the two ish main characters ish had different
Yeah.
love interests, and you're not sure which ones they're going to end up with until like the
Hmm.
very end. And so I think she's very good
Yeah.
at that in her writing.
Yeah. Very masterful.
Yeah, no,
So
I loved it. And I really do hope she writes another spin off series because I would buy it and I would read it. Eat it up.
same. She's one of the authors where she like will release something and I'm like, I don't know what this is about, but purchase, you know.
Yes. So fun.
Definitely recommend this series. This next episode, we're going to review the whole series and then introduce our next book, which, of course, again, we are very excited to read. It's very different from this one, and so that should be fun.
I believe it's a standalone book, right? There's no
Yes.
second books or
There
anything
might be
like
a
that.
second book coming out. I don't know.
Maybe.
We can look into it. Maybe we'll have the answers for you on the next episode.
But we will read this book and I'm excited to. It looks really good from what I remember when I did read the description however long ago. And yeah, we'll see you next time when we give a review for this whole book series as a whole with no spoilers, just reviewing it. And we will
Hmm.
introduce the next book that we will read.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Bye!